It is one of the most beautiful places on Earth, a protected wilderness teeming with life, where steam dances over rainbow-colored pools and geysers erupt with the faithfulness of a clock. This is Yellowstone, a symbol of American nature, a sanctuary visited by millions. This beauty is a mask. It is a thin crust, barely concealing a monster. Beneath the geysers and the forests lies an active magmatic system of terrifying scale. This isn't just a volcano, it is a supervolcano, a geological anomaly with the proven, documented power to end our civilization. We always hear geologists and doomsday preppers talk about if it will erupt. The odds, they say, are low in any given year. But low is not never. The beast beneath Yellowstone is not dead, it is only sleeping. What if, this very second, the long-dormant giant awoke? What would be the minute-by-minute timeline of the apocalypse? This isn't a regional disaster. It isn't a national emergency. It is a planetary reset. And it would begin, not with a bang, but with a whisper. The end doesn't start with fire. It starts with data. 72 hours before the eruption, the sensors at the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, run by the USGS, go completely haywire. It begins with the earthquake swarm. Yellowstone always trembles. 1,000 or 2,000 minor quakes a year is normal. But this is different. This is a cascade. 10,000, then 20,000 tremors in a single 24-hour period. The quakes grow in intensity from magnitude 3s and 4s to a terrifying rolling crescendo of 5s and 6s. Roads in the park crack and splinter. Simultaneously, the ground itself begins to swell. GPS stations monitoring the caldera, the volcano's massive sunken crater, report a ground deformation event that is off the charts. The entire 40-mile-wide basin is rising, not by millimeters per year, but by inches per hour. The magma chamber, a colossal reservoir of molten rock miles beneath the surface, is full. The pressure is becoming unbearable. Then comes the gas. The ground itself begins to suffocate the life above it. Massive, invisible clouds of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide, heavier than air, pour from new cracks in the earth called fumaroles. They flow like rivers into the low-lying valleys, displacing the oxygen. Wildlife in the park, the bison, the elk, the bears, they don't burn. They simply lie down and go to sleep forever. The air, even miles away, becomes a toxic, acidic soup.
Therefore, under
The
my authority, I am
USGS
enacting a
issues its
mandate.
highest possible warning. The President of the United States interrupts every broadcast, ordering the immediate, mandatory
David, stop it, you're
evacuation
scaring her.
of a 200-mile radius. It is the largest, most panicked exodus in human history. But it's too late. Millions are trapped in gridlock, their cars motionless on highways. They are trying to flee the kill zone. They will not make it. It happens. The pressure from the magma chamber overcomes the weight of the rock above it. The ground, which had been swelling for days, rips apart. It is not a cone-shaped eruption like Mount St. Helens. It is an explosion of the entire 40-mile-wide caldera. The blast itself is almost incomprehensible. It releases the energy equivalent of tens of thousands of nuclear bombs. The sound wave is the loudest noise in recorded human history, a physical blow that shatters windows in Seattle, in Dallas, in Chicago. It is heard across the entire continent. But the sound is not the killer. The immediate killer is the pyroclastic flow. This is the volcano's primary weapon. It is a superheated, hurricane-force avalanche of ash, gas, and pulverized rock, heated to over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is moving at 300 miles per hour. This flow is not liquid. It is a fluidized mass that behaves like a tidal wave. It is so hot, it sterilizes everything it touches. It is so fast, it outruns aircraft. It is so massive, it doesn't just flow through valleys, it jumps over entire mountain ranges. Everything and everyone within a 100-mile radius is gone, vaporized in an instant. The millions still trapped in their cars, the towns, the forests, the rivers, all of it is erased from the earth in less than 10 minutes. This is the kill zone, a new, sterile landscape of superheated ash and rock, where life will not return for centuries. But for the rest of the country, the nightmare is just beginning. The eruption, having emptied its immediate fury, now turns its attention to the sky.
We are about to explore the global consequences, which are even more terrifying. If you find this kind of in-depth, hypothetical analysis fascinating, please take a moment to subscribe. We explore the biggest what-ifs in science and history every week.
The true global killer
And now,
makes its
the
entrance.
true global killer makes its entrance.
A column of ash and debris is ejected 20 to 30 miles high, punching through the troposphere and into the stratosphere. It's an umbrella of death, and the prevailing winds of the jet stream immediately begin to carry it east. For the continent of North America, the sun is extinguished. The timeline of the ashfall is relentless. Within 500 miles, Denver, Salt Lake City, Boise. These cities are not just dusted, they are buried. Within hours, a suffocating blanket of heavy, wet ash, several feet thick, accumulates. This ash is not like fireplace soot. It is pulverized rock, silica, and glass. When you breathe it, it mixes with the moisture in your lungs to form a substance like liquid cement. Anyone caught outside without a military-grade respirator is dead. The sheer weight of the ash crushes houses, office buildings, and power lines, plunging the entire region into a silent, gray tomb. Within 1,000 miles, the Midwest, the breadbasket of America. Here, the ash is finer, but just as deadly. Several inches cover everything. This fine, abrasive powder is the enemy of all modern technology. It's drawn into the air intakes of car engines, grinding them to a halt. It infiltrates power stations and water treatment plants. The power grid fails, not just locally, but continent-wide. The ash, mixing with atmospheric moisture, creates a conductive sludge that shorts out electrical transformers on a massive scale. All air travel stops globally. Any jet engine that flies through this cloud will flame out. The United States, as a functioning modern society, ceases to exist in less than 48 hours. No power, no internet, no communication, no clean water, no transportation. Within 72 hours, the coasts, New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, they receive only a fine dusting, perhaps less than an inch, but it is enough.
No
The
clean
air is
water.
toxic. Water reservoirs are contaminated. The supply chains that feed these megacities, trucks, trains, and ships, are all dead. The initial eruption killed millions. The ash cloud has trapped 300 million more in a dark, cold, silent continent. And now, the true global killer makes its entrance.
The eruption has thrown hundreds of cubic miles of material into the stratosphere. But the deadliest component is not the ash, it is the sulfur dioxide. High in the atmosphere, this gas mixes with water vapor to create a fine mist of sulfuric acid droplets. This aerosol layer forms a reflective blanket around the entire planet. It doesn't block sunlight completely, but it dims it everywhere. This is the volcanic winter. Within the first month, the effects are undeniable. Global temperatures plummet by 5, 10, perhaps even
Monsoon
15
rains
degrees Celsius. In
fail
North
completely.
America, it begins to snow in June. The crops that weren't buried by ash are now killed by a year without a summer. This is not a one-time event. This cold period will last for 5 to 10 years. The impact is global and catastrophic. The monsoon rains in Asia, which 3 billion people depend on to grow rice, fail completely. The Amazon rainforest, unable to handle the sudden prolonged cold, freezes and begins to die. Global agriculture
trade
doesn't just
stops.
stumble, it collapses. This is the real mass extinction event, the famine. The world's collected food reserves at any given time would last only a few months. When that food runs out, civilization ends. Nations with remaining food supplies, perhaps in the southern hemisphere, which is less affected, hoard their resources. All global trade stops. International treaties become meaningless. It is a world of 8 billion people starving in the dark. The death toll from the eruption itself was in the millions. The death toll from the volcanic winter, from starvation, from the resource wars, from the breakdown of society, will be in the billions. Humanity, after
A dark,
10,000 years
cold,
of progress,
silent
is
continent.
pushed to the very brink of extinction. This is the standard view. The end, the apocalypse, the moment humanity reverted to the Dark Ages, a scattered, broken species slowly dying out on a frozen planet. But what if this isn't an end? What if it's a filter? In astrophysics, there is a concept known as the Great Filter. It's a hypothetical barrier that prevents civilizations from becoming interstellar. Perhaps the filter isn't an alien invasion or a self-inflicted nuclear war. Perhaps the filter is the planet itself. Our current civilization is a miracle of complexity. It is also incredibly fragile. We are entirely dependent on a delicate, global-spanning web of supply chains, power grids, and digital information. We have become masters of a system, but we have forgotten the planet that system is built upon. The Earth is a self-regulating entity. It has mechanisms to correct imbalances, and a civilization growing at an exponential rate, consuming resources and changing the climate, could be seen from a geological perspective as an imbalance. The eruption doesn't destroy humanity, it destroys our global civilization. Who survives this? It's not the billionaires in their high-tech bunkers waiting for a system that will never return. Their bunkers will eventually fail. Their generators will run out of fuel. Their air filters will clog. The survivors are the resilient, the adaptable, the communities in remote parts of the world who already know how to live without a global supply chain, the farmer who knows how to save seeds, the engineer who can build a water wheel, the doctor who can practice medicine without an MRI machine, the people who know how to work together. This event is a forced, hard reset.
It would prune humanity back to a fraction of its former self. But the survivors, those who make it through the long winter, would be forced to build a new world. A world that is, by necessity, local. A world that is resilient. A world that understands power, not as something that comes from a grid, but from the river, the wind,
You're lucky it
and the
wasn't
sun.
deeper.
A world that is, perhaps for the first time in millennia, more in tune with the planet that
That's how we
just tried
survive.
to wipe it out. The Yellowstone eruption is not a simple story about death. It is a terrifying story about change.
Power
It is a
from the
humbling
river,
reminder
the
of the
wind.
awesome, impersonal power of the planet we live on. It reminds us that we are not the masters of the Earth. We are, and have always been, merely its temporary guests. And the planet always has the final say. But what do you think? Do you believe humanity would survive a reset of this magnitude? What would be the first skill you'd need in this new world? Let us know your survival plan in the comments below.